How cohesive did you make the Torment, Zeke? The golden glowing celestial angel spake in the most irreverent and sarcastic tone he could be bothered, vibrating through the acrid cloud of noxious gas that consisted of a mix of sarin, toluene, agents orange, blue and white, mustard, VX, free organic isocyanates, anthrax and various plagues, and selectively weaponized viral agents and later suffocating and lung adhesive reactants. "Have I ever created anything that has proven less than flawless?" answered the Grand Marshal of the Temporal Protectorate to his friend that had asked and also insulted him with a perverse shortening of the holy name that his favourite Pixis, a name that meant pygmy pixies, a pet name Ezekiel applied to humans and referred to them as, had given him. "That attack on the plane breacher years ago proved not flawless," Uriel objected angrily, raising the visor on his primordial helm and glaring with an intensity that made Ezekiel shudder a little, despite his general outward demeanour that he displayed, which was an unpleasant mix of smugness, hubris, and all three forms of the Dunning-Kruger effect. "Flawless divine retribution is still a flawless outcome." Ooh. With that, the provost commander of the angelic forces in the known entirety and his second in command, Ezekiel, proceeded to fly towards the sweeping terrain and associated terror they had created to punish Scorpat and Mirana with. They had used the most shocking instances of Earth history and caused the Drod effect to draw in all of the relevant ruminating nightmares and rippling shocks through the minds of any and all of the victims of war. Interlaced with this knowledge that they had extracted from their time orbiting and sometimes visiting the war, plague and famine-stricken planet for amusement and to see how it was that beings who were smaller and less powerful were still more driven to destroy each other than they were as an order. The demonic forces they opposed were satisfied on the whole to dwell in separate regions or planets or even planes, for both sides knew of the consequences of Angai Heilig v demonic wars, which were devastating for both in most cases. Scorpat surveyed the scene. The Vladimir had landed here, but then had summarily shut down all its systems in an attempt to preserve its function as a magically exponentiated wave of complexified ECCM swept over the area from a distant large aircraft that, although conventional looking in design, was geostationary, and the clouds streaked around it. There was a cloud descending on the two assassins as they disembarked. Scorpat had only one option, and it was one he had promised not to exercise unless there was absolutely no other means of solving a problem that would mean life or death. Scorpat had few associates left. The humans that he had known on Earth in the time before the dual eclipse were mainly dead from old age or other causes. The dread space pirate Fryan Jimian that he has travelled with on many adventures had been executed by the joint meeting of Earth and Romulimus governments for many acts of murder and debauchery. One of his crew, however, remained an option of sorts. Kaison Rax Karabas was a warrior of that age. It became popular to have your mind scanned to give the individual the ability to then re-exist, either inside the matrix of a computer or in a robotic body. At the time, the technology, impressive as it was, did not impress Carson. He had met and spoken to many of those who undertook the procedure, and after they died, Carson always found that they were less themselves than they were. Something always shifted or was omitted, and he only agreed to a personal soul manifest drive when it was apparent that he would die much younger than he had anticipated, and had sworn to protect his comrades who used to serve aboard the Vengeance. His program could be triggered in extreme circumstances,